it may not sound so strange, but those who might have been through that experience, I masked it, and I covered it up, and I masked it with drugs, and I masked it, you know, at a very early age with drugs. And all the other things, I just pushed it aside. I never told anyone. I never told my parents. And yet, though, I never forgot it.
No, of course not. So you make the connection that the drugs are a direct response to the molestation.
I think in a big way, yes, they were. I mean, subconsciously, yes, back in the back of my mind it was.
You never told anybody when it happened?
No, I told no one.
Who was the first person you did tell?
That's a good question.
Do you remember?
It was probably my husband.
Your husband that you have now? Your present husband?
I only have one husband.
You've only been married once.
Only once.
And you're married a long time, too, right?
Almost 16 years.
Yes, and he's a policeman.
He's a policeman, and he's hot.
Okay, and then, I know, I have to look for his picture in my book. Okay, now the other thing is that you were then molested again when you were in, I guess in high school, when you were 14 by a teacher.
It was a teacher who I looked up to and became friendly with, and you know how things go. At the time, I was thinking, well, I mean, it was all a matter of, you know, it's simple as I wanted good grades, you know, and I wanted his approval.
You wanted good grades. But then you...
But actually, not good grades. I got back. I wanted passing grades.
You wanted passing grades. And so he sort of lured you into his apartment?
You know, sort of give and take, you know, you take this, I'll give you this, you get this, I'll give you this.
But then you continued to see him, am I right?
I did continue, and when I found out 10 years later, after graduating from high school, I found out that I wasn't the only one at the time, that other women in school had the same experience.
When you were 14 and this happened to you,
14 going on 15.
15. Did you think it was molestation, or did you think you were having a relationship with a teacher?
I knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong. One, and the reason why, because he was married.
He was married.
And I didn't think, well, you know, it was illegal. I mean, that didn't even pop in my mind. I never thought of that at the time. I was never taught. I was never told. I was never told what was right, what was wrong about the situation. And at the time, I'm thinking it's wrong because he's married.
Let me ask you something. You know, because you're a non-hearing person, what's the politically correct way to describe this now? Deaf? Deaf, okay. Because you were a deaf child, a deaf young girl, do you think that that played into all of the molestations that you described? The babysitter and then this teacher? Did they see you as easy prey?
The babysitter wasn't deaf, so it's possible.
Well, no, she was, though. You were, and I'm saying...
And I'm deaf.
Did they see you as an easier...
They could have taken advantage of me because I was deaf. They could have.
Yeah.
Because, as in anyone, I mean, really, it's all about taking advantage of a child, whether they're deaf or hearing.
I understand that. I'm just wondering if it happens even more often to a handicapped child.
You know what? I wouldn't know. I don't know. No.
Okay.
I mean, I know that there are a lot of deaf children who have been subject to molestations, probably more so. But you know, I don't know the statistics. The teacher was someone we all looked up to. Yeah. And unfortunately, the situation happened, and I got pulled in. I got lured in.
Okay. I want to also talk about your relationship with the actor William Hurt. We'll talk about Marlee's relationship with a Hollywood star, William Hurt. We know who he is. That went horribly wrong when we come back. Okay, we're back with Marlee Matlin and her interpreter over here, who I said, I feel like you're talking behind my back.
We are.
You are.
We are.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about William Hurt. That's the deal between the two of you. Was it love? Was it lust? Did you over-identify with the roles in Children of a Lesser God? What happened there?
You know what? Actually, we started our relationship during the end of the screen test process for Children of a Lesser God before I even got the role.
Oh.
And it continued until I got the role, and it continued throughout the film, and it continued after, and I lived with him for 2 years.
And you said in the book that the sex with him was spectacular. Now you've piqued my interest.
Hey, well, you know.
How spectacular. Can we have a few details here?
You know, actually, we were in love. We were in love. We were truly in love in a relationship, but part of that was love-hate. I mean, I was battling my drug addiction at the time.
What kind of drugs were you using?
Pot, cocaine, and...
Alcohol, too?
No alcohol. Alcohol was never my thing. I did drink, you know, maybe in the presence of friends, but it was never my thing.
And he was doing drugs, too?
With me. With me, yes.
He was doing coke also.
But alcohol was his preference. With me.
Now, tell me about the abusive part of the relationship with him. Was he physically abusive or verbally?
Well, you know what, it's not easy to talk about it.
I know.
But it happened, and I was 19 and he was 35, and I had just come out of a 4-year relationship with a guy back home in Chicago, and that was a great relationship.
Oh.
And he never laid a hand on me, and I met William Hurt, and it was a complete 360-degree. I mean, I didn't understand what this was about. It was both of us. It was, I mean, there was so much going on with the film, with him being older, me being younger, not seeing eye to eye in a lot of things, and being drunk and being high, and all meshing together in one big
Was
ball.
there violence?
There was violence.
Sometimes? He was
all the time.
He's a big fella. He might have hurt you. You're a small girl.
But I kicked butt.
You kicked him back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to.
But you stayed. Why did you stay?
I didn't know how to leave. I didn't have friends in New York. That's where I was living. I didn't know that you could ask for help. I didn't know that you could call 911. I didn't know. I didn't know that you could ask your neighbor. Now I know. And for anyone who is in this kind of relationship, look, it's hard. It's hard to get out when you don't know. I can understand it. You think you're going to lose everything. You think you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your friends if you tell somebody, which is not true. All you have to do is just open the doorknob and walk out the door and talk to anyone you see and say, I need help.
I know. You hear this story often from women who have been abused by men.
Too often.
That they can't leave, they don't know how to leave. Now, knowing what you know today, would you have pressed charges against him if you had known that?
Absolutely.
You would have.
Absolutely.
So it was very serious. Has he ever apologized to you?
No.
He has not?
No.
Okay. Do you have contact with him? You're very nice to him in the book. You have an acknowledgement in the book for William Hurt.
Look, he is a very good actor.
Yes, he is.
And I have nothing but the utmost respect for the work we had together. I was a fan of his before I met him. Altered States, The Big Chill. Come on, they were great films. And I was excited to work with him. And I thought, you know what? Here's this great older man. I'm going to learn a great deal from him. And I was wrong.
But if he hasn't apologized, and you feel that he was very wrong in the way he behaved towards you, why do you acknowledge him?
If he apologized,
yeah.
I would forgive him.
I would forget.
But I won't forget.
You won't forget. No,
you can't.
But you know, you've forgiven him in this book. It seems to me. Now that you've told us,
but you know what?
Sorry.
How else am I going to live? How else am I going to live? You have to try to find the heart to forgive.
You're a good girl. You're a nice girl.
I added, you're a good Jewish girl.
Jewish girl. Did you go to a Seder last week?
Yes, I did. I was invited to a wonderful Seder at my friend's house. Thank you for cooking so wonderfully.
Now, you know, you are, to me, I've watched you over the years, and even on Dancing with the Stars, you're a strong, you know, very, very talented actress. You're a role model for a lot of young people who see you as someone who struggled and came through. Now, in this book, are you afraid that this is going to change the way people see you? That you're more of a victim in this book than you are as an actress, Marlee Matlin, that we all know.
But you know what? The message is that I knew when I wrote the book that I would show people that I was able to overcome it all. How else could I be here today if I hadn't overcome it? It's all inside me, but I know that there's so many people out there for whom my message, hearing this message, can help them. And they could do something on their own. It's just as simple as that. I hope that I can inspire many more people than just being the deaf person dancing and Dancing with the Stars. But I'm not worried about losing fans, or I'm not worried about all that kind of stuff. I trust that I will just gain from this experience.
You know, it says here that you were in drug rehab in Betty Ford when you were nominated.
Yeah. I was in there for a month.
For Children of a Lesser God.
I was in there. I was nominated my second week. My counselor woke me up at 5:30 in the morning, and I thought, oh, you know what? Somebody died. You know, that's what happens when you get that call in the middle of the night. And they said, no, everything's fine. And Jack was the one who told me on the phone.
You?
Yes, I was on a little teletypewriter.
What's about Jack?
It's always about Jack.
Anyway.
And I like saying that about myself, right?
You know,
anyway.
you can talk. You seem to be able to talk. But you don't want to? Would you rather sign? You'd rather sign?
You'd rather sign?
Pay him.
I mean, she says she pays me to do this, so what do you...
Can't be here for nothing.
I can't be here for anything. It's not like I'm doing this for volunteer work. That's for sure. No. I got nominated while I was in rehab, of all places, and I'm thinking, you know what, that'd be good for a book later on when it's time to write the book.
Oh, yeah, you got a book here, girl. You got a book here. And you were not born deaf. We found you lost your hearing.
No. I became deaf when I was 18 months old, and I was raised in Chicago. I'm very proud of Chicago. And I learned to sign when I was 5 years old. I went to public mainstream school with the deaf program in it, and that's what life was for me. You know, it was a great childhood. Actually, despite what happened, I had a great childhood. I have good memories. And I had great friends,
and
great family.
And you have a great life now. You're married to a great guy, a policeman. You're happily married. You have children.
I have 4 wonderful children.
You're still beautiful.
13, 8, 6, and 5.
Who's better than you, Marley?
Maybe you.
Okay. I want to thank Marley and Jack. We have this note. Larry King Live reached out to William Hurt seeking a response to Marley's memoir and the allegations she makes about him. His representatives declined to comment.